What's up, world? It's your boy Drew Marcy here for How to Rap, and in this video and series we're gonna break down all you need to know about the music business by Donald S. Passman. Now, I personally have been a music educator for over 4.5 years. I started this journey when I was a student at UCLA, fight, and as an artist I've been doing this for over 15 years. In 2018 I just got off a world tour, 3 separate continents, 15 plus countries. On top of the channel we got with hundreds of thousands of students in music. So this is a series that's designed to be organized like an educator would organize it, but from an artist's perspective, right? So when you stay through the whole series, you're gonna get information that feels relatable to you on top of the great work in the book. Now, last disclaimer before we start, this is not a reason not to buy the book. This is not an excuse not to have the book. You're gonna learn twice as much if you have the book with your own personal notes as you watch the videos. Furthermore, this is an educational video series about the quality of the book, the information. So the best policy, show Donald S. Passman some love. Don't have him come after me. It's fair use, bro. Have the book, buy the book. It's the first link in the video description, and you'll learn twice as much, get twice the value. But without further ado, let's get into this epic series. All you need to know about the music business. Page 1, let's start. The big homie Drew. Boom. All right, so the book begins with a section called Open Up and Say Ah, where Don Passman describes being a professor at UCLA Law School, and at the end of one of his classes, a student comes up and says, "Professor, I'm here for you to open up the top of my mind and pour the entire music industry inside of it." And that's an image he wants us to hold throughout the entire book. He then takes us back by describing how he got started in music. Don Passman has been doing music for over 30 years as an entertainment lawyer. But like many of us, he first started in music wanting to be the star, the artist himself. His first instrument was the accordion of all things, and then in middle school and high school, he moved on to the guitar. In college, he played lead guitar in a band, and as they did back in the day, he was shopping his demo around to anybody who would listen in the music industry. Just so happens one of his family friends was a music industry insider. He listened to the demo, and he respectfully said, "Don, I think you should go to law school." Don took the advice, he got the hint, and went to law school. Now, he was still in a band for a little while he was in law school, but he quickly realized if he wanted to be in this industry, given his unique talents, and actually feed himself, he was gonna have to do something different and support the artist, becoming a tax lawyer, an entertainment tax lawyer, as his career choice. So Don gets his first major gig as an entertainment lawyer, representing a gorgeous 6-foot supermodel. Not a bad first gig. And she tells him, "Don, I've got this manager who's pursuing me in probably more ways than one, and he wants 50% of my gross earnings over the next 10 years. Gross earnings basically means all the income that's generated by you as a business, you as an artist. As you read through the book in chapter 3 and in this series, you'll find out that 50% over 10 years is a ridiculous sum. So Don tells her, "Look, I'll call up the manager, we'll get this handled." Now, he calls up the manager, and he's admittedly pretty nervous. He's a fresh young whippersnapper straight out of law school, so his voice is cracking, but he's gonna lay it down on this guy. He says, "Well, you know that most managers only take 15%, which is honestly very true." But the guy he can hear this is a young guy that doesn't really know what he's doing. So he says, "Oh yeah, 15%? Who you know in the industry that does that?" This was honestly Don's first lesson in humility. He couldn't hang up that phone fast enough. But as he developed his skills as a lawyer, he began to see why people saw a lot of value in his work. He says, quote, "The concept of creative freedom and the need to control costs in order to have a business are eternally locked in a Vulcan death match," which means the music business will always have lawyers. I can relate to this quote as an artist because, as I mentioned, I just got off a world tour with over 15 countries that was paid for by a company that invested in me as an artist. And while it was amazing and freeing to go to all these countries, it was always a constant battle between us for how much money could we spend on the promotion, on the recording, what countries could we go to, how good was the living situation. There was a real life example of he who controls the cost controls the creative. With this in mind, Don moves on with an analogy he calls brain surgery. What he says is a rock star and a brain surgeon have a little bit in common. They can go to the heights of their profession. They can perform their craft brilliantly. They can make huge sums of money and still have little to no financial understanding. If I'm a brain surgeon, my day-to-day operations is saving people's lives, knowing the ins and outs of how to perfectly aim that scalpel to make sure I don't hurt anybody, that I can organize my fellow surgeons and my nurses so that we can do it and successfully get this person out and living a great life again. I go in and I pick up that huge doctor level check from the hospital. I go home, I have my great home life, all that, but I've never actually learned anything. The taxes are taken out automatically. I don't know anything about how the insurance company is handling my patients. I'm still doing my work great, but I'm not actually understanding where the money's coming from. Who controls the money? The same thing is true of a rock star or musician. I go, get told where to show up on my tour from my tour manager. Where I'm performing is decided by a booking manager. The record label is dispensing my publishing and my songwriting copyrights, and all of my decisions are made by other people who don't have to tell me anything, even if I make the best music in the world. And furthermore, just with the artistic mindset, us being artists, often we don't really have a large interest in business outside of protecting ourselves and wanting to make money and know we don't want to get screwed. So he runs through 4 main reasons why artists often don't learn the business. 1, for them, their time was better spent making music. Number 2, they weren't interested. Number 3, it sounded too complicated. And/or number 4, learning it was too much like being in school. We should note that he mentions all of these will be much worse when you become successful. When you become that great artist that you imagine yourself to be, it's not like you're gonna have more brain space to be studying music, business theories, and copyright percentages and things like that. So you're doing the right thing by watching this video, by reading this book, by making sure you're taking control now before you're too busy to handle it. According to him, the good news is most musicians land somewhere in the middle, and you're probably the same. Not like you literally just ignore the business or never want to learn it. You want to make intelligent decisions, but for you, the art comes first, the music comes first. The main thing he wants you to take home, if you're somewhere in the middle or anywhere on this spectrum, is this: no one ever takes as good care of your business as you do. Now, how to apply and use the lessons you learn and all you need to know about the music business. Donald Passman describes a day in high school where a police officer came into his class. The police officer pulls up the TV and shows them a 30-second grainy video on some random street corner in a major urban center. To the kids, as they watch, they think it's just some random video of, urban life in the major city. After the video's done, the police officer says, "Class, did you guys notice anything weird about that video?" Nobody raises their hand. Cop says, "Well, if you re-look, there's quite a few weird things going on there." And he replays the video and he points out that there was an illegal exchange of drugs going on. There was a red light being run, etc. Moral of the story is, to a trained observer, there are many important things that are going on that could either hurt or help you if you know what to look for, if you are that trained observer. Don Passman says you want to go through a similar process with this. The point of this book, the major point of this book, is for you to become a trained observer of your business as a musician. Now, I relate to this as a YouTuber, as a music educator. When I first started this channel way back when at UCLA, I just thought I would tell you my ideas about what I thought about this rapper or this artist, and you'd enjoy it because I'm talking about something you like. The fact of the matter is, there are ways of organizing information, ways of editing videos, ways of covering things that are relevant to people that you have to learn that only a trained observer would know. So even in this video series, even when I'm teaching you about this book, there are many things that I'm doing subtly that if you're a YouTuber, you're a music educator, you notice I'm doing to help improve the chances you'll stay in the video, to help improve the chances that you'll click and buy the book, things like that. Now, Donald Passman runs through a couple details about how this is a big overview. You shouldn't take every single thing as just the only way it's done in the music industry. And he tells a couple funny examples about the results that he's seen since the book came out. One music lawyer called him and said, "You can't be releasing this book. I charge thousands of dollars for this information." Another manager called him saying, "I'm tired of having artists I'm trying to represent pushing this book in my face." And probably the most gratifying result is when somebody came up to him and said, "This is the first book I've ever actually finished in my entire life." Now, wrapping up the chapter, Donald S. Passman has a section called Staple, Spindle, Mutilate. And the idea here is ignore all the thoughts you had in school about taking care of a book or treating it like it's a precious metal. This is a book that you can highlight, you can write, you can scratch, you can fold papers, you can bring with you on the long train journey, whatever it is. This is a book that's meant to be living for you. Same with these videos. I want you to save it in your phone, download it if you got YouTube Red, torrent it if you need to. Point is to get you the information. But no matter what, be sure to buy the book. And the final piece of advice in the intro is this. This is a choose your own adventure style book and video series. If there's a section title that's concerning you right now and you don't want to read through the whole book right now, just go straight to it, read it, get the information, come back to it when you need it. It's more like the Bible or something like that than it is like a brand new novel. You can go to a section that's going to help you most for the time that you need it it. Now, there's several ways of doing this, so if you forgive me, we're gonna read directly from the book about how he's organized it, the overheadings, and also the fast track, the slow track versions that he suggests for the book, just so you have it clear and it's straight from the horse's mouth. So let's rock into that. Part 1 deals with how to put together a team to guide your career, consisting of a personal manager, business manager, agent, and attorney. Part 2 looks at record deals, including the concepts of royalties, advances, and other deal points. Part 3 talks about songwriting and publishing, including copyrights and the structure of the publishing industry. Part 4 explores things you'll need to know if you're in a group. Part 5 deals with concerts and touring, including agreements for personal appearances and the role of your various team members in the process. Part 6 on merchandising tells you how to profit from plastering your face on posters, t-shirts, and other junk. Parts 7 and 8 explore classical music and motion pictures. Now, the 4 ways that you can choose your own adventure straight from the book. Number 1, extremely fast track. If you really want a quick trip, then read part 1 on how to pick a team of advisors, get people who know what they're doing, let them do it, put this book on your shelf to impress your friends, and say hi to me backstage at one of your concerts. Fast track. Short of this radical approach, if you want a broad strokes overview of the business without much detail, skip ahead each time you see the fast track directions. Advanced overview. If you want a more in-depth look but less than the full shot, then follow the advanced overview direction. This will give you a solid overview plus some detail on each topic. And expert track. For you high achievers who want an in-depth discussion, simply read straight through. Feel free to mix and match any of this. All right, so there you have it, the intro, the first steps chapter of All You Need to Know About the Music Business by Donald Passman. If this is your first time watching this, you want to keep up with the series, be sure to subscribe. But more importantly, I want to see you in the comments. Where are you in your career as an artist? I want to know where you are in your development, that you're at a point that you want to learn about the music business rather than just the art. So tell me in the comments where you are currently. Describe where you are in your career. I'll see you in the comments. Thanks for watching. Looking forward to doing this series with you. It's the big homie Drew Marcy. See you in the comments.